Hey! It's Trixie Tutor here, and I have been really behind on fucking videos, which is kind of not entirely my fault. Work has been really hectic, and every time I get home from work now, it's like I just want to go to bed. But I never go to bed, and then I'm just kind of laying around doing nothing. But, I blanked. Holy shit. I'm back! And I'm gonna try and not be so incognito for a while. But, I guess we're gonna go through and, this video is gonna be about exes. Ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, whatever. We're gonna have a little chat because I'm going through, well, it's not really that bad, but my ex-boyfriend, my most recent one, not my first ex-boyfriend, because I don't fucking talk to him to begin with, because he was an asshole, but, I went through, and my recent ex-boyfriend, who we've been broken up for like a year, he went through and, or I went through and I offered him a ticket to the concert that I'm going to in just a few weeks. It's a few weeks away, holy shit. But, you know, he says, fine, whatever. My cat just dropped my broom. But he said, okay, cool, whatever. Literally just dropped my broom. But, he said fine, and, you know, and I'm like, okay, I really don't give a fuck if you take the ticket or not, because, you know, I would rather not have the extra, because I couldn't take the person that I was gonna take with me. And then a few days later, he goes, or he says, you know, well, would it be okay if you just drop the ticket off? I don't care, I really don't, but he goes through and he flat out said that, you know, being around, or I think that being around you would be a little awkward. That's what kind of pissed me off a little bit. Like, okay, I can kind of understand where he's coming from. You know, he's not the, or I'm not the one who broke off things, and I'm not the one who broke up with him, and it's just, I get that, I completely understand that, but at the same time, you can go through and you can still be friends with your ex, and have it completely platonic. Holy shit. And I went through and I was like, okay, you know, fine, whatever, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I'm going to a city that I've never been to before. I'm going through and being in a completely different state by myself. I went through and I told my grandma about it, and I told a couple other people about it, and they're like, well, you should totally have somebody go with you so you're more protected, because we know how your anxiety gets. I'm like, well, yeah, I get that, but I can't exactly force him to go. And the one thing that irritated with me was the fact that he went through and he said, well, I just think it'll be awkward. It's only awkward if you make it awkward. I went through and I was just like, okay, you know, just because I flirt with you in person, or not in person, just because I flirt with you online doesn't mean that I'm going to actually flirt with you in person. I'm not that desperate. And he went through and he kind of exploded saying, well, really? You know, that, you know, you're not the only one with self-esteem issues. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. But my version of desperate is I'm not going to go through and do something that I'm going to regret with him. Because it took me a year to get over the fucking feelings that I had for him. I really don't want them to come back. My version of desperate is being smart enough to know my limits with him, because just because we have flat out said, okay, yeah, we're still kind of attracted to each other, that doesn't mean that we're actually going to go through and have sex. And that's just, and then I went through and I just said, okay, so you go through and you say that you won't flirt with me in person, but you're okay with flirting with me online, and yet when I say it and I add, I'm not that desperate at the end of it, I come off as a heartless bitch. Me saying the word desperate, it kind of came off the wrong way, and I completely understand why he got a little upset, but at the same time, I didn't know the proper terminology. I still like him. That part is never going to go away, but I do not want to go through and get the feelings back that I had for him. I don't. Because, honestly, you know, I really, really did love him. I still kind of do love him, but I don't want them to come back because I know that it's not going to work out. I have gone through, and with my first ex-boyfriend, we got back together 3 times before we actually broke off for good. I don't want that to happen again. You know, an ex is an ex for a reason. And the thing is, like, you can still be friends with your ex. You can. If you're still friends with your ex, that just flat out says you're both mature enough to realize that you weren't meant to be together. And so you're better off as friends, and nothing is going to happen out of that. I completely get that. And I'm not the kind of person who's going to go through, and if my boyfriend is talking to his ex, I'm not going to go through and assume that, oh, hey, they're sleeping together. Oh, hey, they're still flirting with each other. Like, no. I'm not going to go through and no. I've matured enough from my last relationship to realize that just because they're still talking to their ex doesn't mean that anything is going to happen. Now, granted, with my last relationship, he went through and he was still talking to his ex, and he was still getting pictures of his ex's cleavage. And he went through and he's like, oh, well, that was when we were having our issues. No, okay. No. If you're having a problem with somebody, you talk it out. You don't go through and go and flirt with somebody else. That was my only issue with his relationship, or with my relationship with him, was he was a pathological flirt. And so this is where I'm getting at with, like, the exes thing. Like, if it was a fucked up relationship, don't go through and be friends with them, because they're just going to use you. If it was completely sex based, don't talk to them, because that's all they're going to want from you. My ex-boyfriend, he is a decent human being. I'm not going to deny that. He's actually really, really sweet. And, you know, the fact of the matter is just, if you're friends with your ex, fine, great, wonderful. But just don't go through and say that being around them would be awkward. Because if you're decent enough to go through and talk to them still on the phone, or like texting, or on Messenger for Facebook or whatever, if you're still able to do that, it's not going to be awkward in person, because 9 times out of 10, the person that somebody is online is the person that they are in real life. That's how I am. You know, I'm the same person in real life as I am online. I'm not even going to deny that. You know, I'm a smart ass. I'm a bitch. I am completely funny when I want to be. I'm the same person as I am online as I am in person. Now, granted, I have social anxiety, so that's way difficult for me to get out there, but at the same time, once you get close to me, that's all going to come out. That's where I'm getting at, is if you can go through and still talk to your ex online, you can still talk to them in person, you can still hang out with them, and nothing will happen. And it's just, the thing that irritated me was the fact that he seems to think that it's not going to be the same. Like, okay, yeah, we did date. Yeah, we had sex. Yeah, but at the same time, nothing is going to change. You know, I'm still going to go through and I'm still going to talk to him like a human being. I don't think it's going to be awkward. He doesn't need to think that it's going to be awkward. Because even if you were the person that broke things off with the other person, and yet the other person is completely okay with you as a human being, then nothing is going to happen. And it's not as awkward as you think it is. So basically, I mean, I know anxiety is a really difficult thing to get over. I get that. You know, I'm suffering with it all the time. But in order to get over that anxiety, you got to go through and push yourself into a situation that would possibly cause that. That's where I'm getting at. That's basically the basis of this video. You know, stay friends with your ex as long as they're not complete assholes. Go through and make sure that your ex, or just have a decent relationship with your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend. Granted, if they were assholes to you, like abusive, emotionally abusive, they cheated on you, yada yada yada, don't do that. But if they didn't do that, they're a decent human being, and it didn't work out for a reason. That doesn't mean that you can't still be friends with them. That's basically what I gotta say about that. You are amazing, you are smart, you are beautiful, you are talented. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Hopefully I will have a video up on Saturday. Fingers crossed. I hope you all are having an amazing Wednesday. I hope that this week is going really, really good for you guys. And I will see you guys as soon as possible, I suppose. Bye!